I stopped installing Claude and Codex skills. And no, it is not because I think skills are useless. It is actually the complete opposite. I stopped installing them because I finally understood what I was putting inside my AI. For a while, I was doing what I see so many people doing. Somebody posts a skill, the demo looks amazing, and suddenly we are collecting skills like Pokemon cards. Look at my stack. Look at all these powers I added. My AI must be incredible now. Except, is it? Because installing a skill is not the same thing as improving your AI. Sometimes it quietly makes the result worse. That is the part nobody wants to talk about. A skill is just a set of instructions that Claude or Codex uses to get a particular job done. It is a recipe. But it is also more than a recipe. A skill is like a note you leave for a worker who might not stop and ask you a follow-up question before doing the job. So that note had better be clear. And when you install somebody else's skill, you are not just installing a cute new capability. You are importing their decisions, their way of doing the job, their preferred tools, their acceptable shortcuts, their definition of done. Maybe those decisions work for you. Maybe they do not. Maybe you have not even read them. That is why I stopped blindly installing skills. Skills are not apps. We are used to downloading an app and expecting a reasonably predictable experience. Skills do not come with that guarantee. A random skill can be badly written. It can conflict with the skills you already have. It can contain instructions you do not trust. It can promise something brilliant in a demo and then be almost useless in your actual work. I have done this with design skills. I thought, finally, this will make my front-end work look better. I installed it, tried it, and nothing. I had installed files. I had not installed better judgment. That distinction changed everything for me. So here is what I do instead. I start with the job, not the skill, the job. What am I actually trying to accomplish? What do I want the AI to do reliably without me repeating the same giant prompt every single time? What does a good result look like to me? If I cannot answer those questions, I have no business installing another skill. I am just decorating my setup. Then I talk. Seriously. I get the judgment out of my head by saying it out loud. I rant. I explain. I describe what I love, what annoys me, and what a finished result should feel like. We are freer when we talk. We reveal preferences that never make it into a neat little prompt. And those preferences matter because the valuable part is not that you know some secret technical trick. The valuable part is that your goals are yours. Maybe you found a simple table that makes a recipe instantly easier to understand. Somebody else would never think to format it that way. You did. That is judgment. That is the thing worth capturing. So I take that messy, spoken thinking and turn it into a repeatable skill. And I care about two audiences, the agent that has to use it and the human who has to read it. If the agent cannot use the skill, it is dead weight. If I cannot open the skill and understand what it is telling my agent to do, that is a problem. I want to inspect it. I want to audit it. If I am giving my business judgment to an agent, I want to know exactly what that judgment is. This is where the structure matters more than people realize. A skill is a directory. The agent does not swallow every instruction, example, template, and script in that directory every time you open a chat. It first sees the name and description. That description is basically the teaser trailer. It helps the agent decide, is this the right skill for this job? Only when the task matches does it load the full instructions and reach for supporting material when needed. That loading order is powerful. It is why a focused skill can be so much better than pasting a massive prompt into every conversation. But it is also where bad skills fall apart. If the description is vague, the agent may never know when to use it. If the description is too broad, the skill starts showing up in jobs where it does not belong and clogs the context. If the main instruction file is stuffed with every edge case anyone has ever imagined, the agent spends its attention wandering through a manual instead of doing the work. So when I create a skill, I want the description to be precise. I want the main instructions to be lean. I want enough examples to make the judgment clear, including counterexamples when they are useful, but I do not want to bury the job underneath a mountain of explanation. Human readable, agent usable, both, every time. Now, does that mean I will never use a skill somebody else created? No, I am opinionated, not ridiculous. Sometimes a trusted person creates a simple skill that solves my exact problem. I can read it, try it, and decide whether it belongs in my setup. But even then, it is not sacred. I may keep the core loop, change the outcome, adapt the questions, or make the result easier to inspect. That is how I want to think about skill lineage. Not here are 10 skills, install them and you are done. But here is a useful capability. How should it evolve for the work I actually do? Maybe 10 or 20% of the time, the trusted skill works beautifully as it is. The rest of the time, I want some kind of modification because my goal is not identical to the original author's goal. This is the real shift. I am not collecting capabilities, I am authoring intelligence on my computer. That sounds dramatic. I mean it dramatically. It is my job to decide which source I trust. It is my job to decide which task should happen automatically. It is my job to encode the judgment. Nobody on GitHub can make those decisions for me because they do not do my work and they do not live with my results. And if you already have a big library of skills, please do not assume you are finished. Audit it. You may have 10 skills you borrowed and 15 you built. Wonderful. You may also have 25 sets of instructions quietly disagreeing with one another, while your AI tries to average them into one answer. That is how sharp results become dull. It is like a knife. If the skills are aligned, you sharpen the edge. If they conflict, you keep grinding away at it and then wonder why nothing cuts cleanly. I have been in that loop. The writing is not working as well, so I think I need a writing skill. I add one more. The result gets worse. So naturally, I start looking for another skill. No, stop. The answer to skill bloat is not another skill you have not inspected. Look at the whole setup. Find the overlapping instructions. Find the contradictions. Decide which judgment wins. Make those decisions in a way you, the human, actually understand and feel comfortable with. Because the goal is not to win a deck building game. The goal is not to get a little dopamine hit every time a demo looks impressive. The goal is to make AI reliably lift some of the load from your life. That requires capabilities built around your goals, not a pile of files built around somebody else's. So yes, I stopped installing Claude and Codex skills. I start with the outcome. I talk through my judgment. I turn that judgment into instructions an agent can use and I can audit. I adapt trusted work when it genuinely fits. And I regularly check that my skills work together instead of quietly canceling one another out. I did not stop using skills. I stopped outsourcing the decision about what my AI should become. And honestly, that is where skills finally started feeling like a superpower instead of a sticker collection.